If you've been learning English for years and trying to use big fancy words to sound fluent, but people still don't understand you, by the end of this video, I'm going to show you why the simplest words are actually the most powerful and how native speakers use just 5 verbs to say almost everything. And this will completely change how you speak English. But before we get into the video, if you want to sound like a native speaker, hit that like button now and subscribe to the channel because what you're about to learn today is going to make your English sound 10 times more natural. Hello everyone, I'm Mr. English Teacher. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about something that most English learners get completely wrong and it's costing them their fluency. You see, most learners think that good English means using big words. They think speaking well means using difficult vocabulary. They think sounding advanced means sounding complicated. But here's the truth that nobody tells you. Native speakers don't speak like that. Native speakers use simple words. They use short sentences. They repeat common verbs again and again, and they don't try to sound clever. They try to sound clear, and clarity is the real sign of fluency. Many learners make the same mistake, and maybe you're making it too. They try to replace simple words with advanced ones. They say utilize instead of use. They say commence instead of start. They say purchase instead of buy. And these words are not wrong, but they're not natural in daily speech. If you want to sound natural, you must learn to love simple English, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. In this video, you will learn how to speak more with less English. We'll focus on simple, powerful verbs like get, make, take, go, and come. Because these are not small words, these are strong words. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why you don't need advanced vocabulary to sound fluent. Let's start with a simple truth that will blow your mind. Native speakers use a small number of words very well. They don't use many words badly, they use a few words perfectly. If you listen to real conversations, you will hear the same verbs again and again: get, make, go, come, give, put, have, do. These verbs are the engine of spoken English, but many learners ignore them. They think these verbs are too simple. They think they need more advanced words, and this is a huge mistake that's keeping you from sounding natural. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Let's start with the verb get, because get is one of the most powerful verbs in English, and it has many meanings, and native speakers use it all the time. You can say, I get it, which means I understand. You can say, I got a message, which means I received a message. You can say, I got tired, which means I became tired. You can say, I need to get ready, which means I need to prepare. So instead of learning many different verbs for understand, receive, become, prepare, native speakers often just use get, simple, natural, and powerful. But learners often avoid get. They try to use understand, receive, become, prepare. And again, these words are not wrong. But in daily conversation, get is way more natural. And if you're still watching this video right now, write in the comments, I get it, because I want to see if you're really understanding this concept. Now let's look at the verb make, because make is another core verb, another main verb, and it's everywhere in English. You can say, make a decision, make time, make someone happy, make a mistake, make money. And instead of saying, I committed an error, a native speaker says, I made a mistake. Instead of saying, I earned some money, they say, I made some money. Make is simple, flexible, and is everywhere in natural English. Now let's look at the verb take, and this is where it gets really interesting. You can take a break, you can take a shower, you can take a look, you can take a seat. You can take responsibility, and so instead of saying, I will rest, a native speaker often says, I will take a break. Instead of saying, I will examine it, a native speaker often says, I will take a look, and take helps English sound natural and relaxed, not stiff and formal. Now let's look at the word go, because go is incredibly flexible. You go to work, you go home, you go shopping, you go crazy, you go wrong, you go quiet, and all of these have different meanings, but they all use the same simple verb go. And then we have come, you come back, you come in, you come with me, you come early, you come late. And instead of saying I returned, a native speaker says I came back. Instead of saying I entered, they say I came in. Again, simple words, natural sound. Now let me ask you something and be honest with yourself. Do you feel that your English sometimes sounds heavy? Do you feel that you try too hard? Do you feel that your sentences are too long or too formal? Very often this happens because learners try to use advanced words when simple words are better. And I'm going to give you a clear example right now. A learner might say, I'm very exhausted and I require some rest. A native speaker says, I'm tired, I need a break. The meaning is the same, but the second one sounds real. It sounds human and fluent. English is not about sounding academic, it's about sounding human, and this is why simple English is so powerful. And if you're starting to see why this matters, hit that like button right now because we're about to go even deeper. Now let's talk about something really important, the obsession with advanced vocabulary. And this means you care too much about using advanced words. Many learners believe that learning English means learning difficult words. They collect words, they write long lists, they memorize rare words, but when they speak, they freeze. Why? Because their brain cannot easily use these words in real time. Your brain loves simplicity. Your brain loves speed. Your brain loves patterns, and simple words like get, make, take, go, and come are easy for your brain to use quickly. But advanced words are slow. They need more thinking. They break your flow. And this is why native speakers prefer simple words, even when they know advanced ones. They choose speed over beauty. They choose clarity over complexity. Now let me change the way you think about advanced English completely because this is a game changer. Advanced English is not long words. Advanced English is using simple words in flexible ways. When you can use get in many situations, that is advanced. When you can use take, go, and come in many expressions, that is advanced. This is real mastery. And this is what separates someone who sounds natural from someone who sounds like they're reading from a textbook. Let's slow down and practice together right now because I want you to feel this difference. Imagine you want to say that you understand something. You can say, I understand, but you can also say, I get it. Both are correct, but I get it sounds more natural in everyday conversations. Now imagine you want to say that you became angry. You can say, I became angry, but you can also say, I got angry. Again, both are correct, but I got angry sounds more like real speech, and if you can feel that difference, you're already improving. Now let's go deeper and talk about how simple English makes you more confident and why native speakers prefer simplicity, because this is where everything comes together. Many learners feel nervous when they speak English. They think too much. They search for the perfect word. They try to build perfect sentences, but real conversation is not perfect. It is fast. It is messy. It is human. Native speakers don't stop to search for special words. They use the words that come easily, and these are usually simple words, and this is one reason why simple English gives you confidence. When you use simple words, your brain works faster. You don't panic, you don't freeze. You speak more freely, and let me give you a clear example. A learner wants to say that a movie was very good. They may say the movie was extremely fascinating and intellectually stimulating. This sentence is not wrong, but it is heavy. It sounds like a written review, not like speech, but a native speaker says, the movie was really good. I liked it a lot. This is short, clear, and natural, and most importantly, it is easy to say. When English is easy to say, you feel more confident. When you feel more confident, you speak more. When you speak more, you improve faster. And this is a very important cycle. Simple English leads to confidence, confidence leads to more speaking, and more speaking leads to fluency. And if you want this kind of fluency, make sure you're subscribed because I share these kinds of powerful tips every week. Now let's talk about something many learners do without noticing, and you might be doing this too. They try to avoid repeating words. They think repeating words is bad, so instead of saying I like it twice, they try to change the words. They say I enjoy it or I find it pleasurable. And again, these are not wrong, but in real conversation, repetition is natural. Native speakers repeat words all the time. They say, it was good, really good. They say, I like it, I really like it. They don't try to show vocabulary, they try to show feeling. And when you repeat simple words, you sound more natural, not less. Let me show you more examples so you can really see this in action. A learner says, I am experiencing difficulties understanding this concept. A native speaker says, I don't get this, I don't get this. Both sentences mean the same thing, but the second one is short, simple, and real. And here again, we see the power of the verb get. Let's look at make again. A learner says, I reached a decision. A native speaker says, I made a decision. A learner says, I created a mistake. A native speaker says, I made a mistake. A learner says, I generated a lot of noise. A native speaker says, I made a lot of noise. So the verb make does the job again and again. Now let's look at take. A learner says, I will rest for a short period. A native speaker says, I will take a short break. A learner says, I will observe it. A native speaker says, I will take a look. Again, simple words create real speech. And with come and go, a learner says, I returned home. A native speaker says, I came home. A learner says, the plan failed. A native speaker says, the plan went wrong. A learner says, he became silent. A native speaker says, he went quiet. Do you see how these simple words carry many meanings? This is really important, and this is why learning main verbs deeply is more important than learning many rare verbs. And if you're still watching, you're already ahead of 90% of English learners because most people never learn this. Okay, now we're in the final part, and this is where I want to give you something practical you can use today. So far, we've learned something very important. We learned that fluent English is not about big words. It's about simple words used well. We learned that main verbs like get, make, take, go, and come are the heart of real spoken English. We learned that simplicity gives you confidence, and we learned that native speakers choose clarity, not complexity. Now the question is this: how can you make this part of your daily English? Because knowing something is one thing, living it is another thing. So let's begin by changing your mindset. Mindset means the way you think. Many learners think, if my English is simple, it is not good. And now you know that this is not true. From today, you can think like this. If my English is simple and clear, it is strong. If my English is easy to understand, it is fluent. If my English is natural, it is advanced. And this simple change in thinking changes everything. Now let's talk about how to train yourself to use simple English, and this is super practical. The first thing is this: when you learn new words, don't only learn difficult words, learn simple combinations. For example, instead of learning postpone, also learn put off. Instead of learning discover, also learn find out. Instead of learning enter, also learn go in. These simple combinations are real spoken English, and they're what native speakers actually use every single day. Before we finish, let me ask you one final question. When you speak English, do you want to impress people or do you want to connect with them? Think about that, because real fluency is about connection. And connection is built with simple words, clear ideas, and honest speech. not with fancy vocabulary that makes people confused. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because I share videos like this every week to help you speak English naturally. Write in the comments one simple verb you're going to start using more. Is it get, make, take, go, or come? Write it down because that commitment will help you remember. And remember, speak more with less English because sometimes less is more. I'm Mr. English Teacher. See you in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.